You made a decision this morning. What to wear. What to eat. Whether to check your phone before your feet even touched the floor. You felt in control. You felt present. You felt like you were the one choosing. But what if none of those choices were actually yours? What if behind every decision you believe you're making consciously, there is a silent system running the show? Older than language, faster than thought, and almost completely invisible. This is not philosophy. This is not conspiracy. This is psychology. And once you understand it, you cannot unsee it. Fact 1. The illusion of conscious choice. Neuroscientist Benjamin Libet conducted one of the most unsettling experiments in modern science. He discovered that the brain registers the intention to move nearly half a second before the person consciously decides to move. Half a second doesn't sound like much until you realize what it means. Your subconscious mind has already made the decision before your conscious mind even enters the conversation. Research in behavioral psychology consistently shows that approximately 95% of daily decisions, actions, and emotional responses are driven by subconscious processing. The conscious mind arrives late. It doesn't lead. It narrates. You are not the author of your choices as often as you think. You are, more frequently, the journalist, reporting on a story that has already been written. This is not a reason to panic. It is a reason to pay attention. Fact 2. The priming effect. In 1996, psychologist John Bargh conducted a landmark study. Participants were exposed to words associated with old age. Words like slow, retired, cautious. Afterward, without being told why, they walked down a hallway measurably slower than when they entered. Nobody told them to slow down. Nobody suggested anything. The words alone, absorbed passively, altered their physical behavior. This is called priming, and it is happening to you constantly. The music in a store influences how long you stay. The color of a room shapes your emotional state. The content you consume before bed programs the lens through which you see tomorrow morning. Your environment is not neutral. It is always speaking, and your subconscious is always listening. Fact 3. The spotlight effect. Here is something your anxiety has never told you honestly. Nobody is watching you as much as you think. Psychologists Thomas Gilovich and Kenneth Savitsky identified what they called the spotlight effect, the deeply human tendency to dramatically overestimate how much attention others pay to our appearance, our mistakes, and our behavior. You walk into a room with a stain on your shirt. You are convinced every eye turns. In reality, people are too consumed by their own internal spotlight to notice yours. But here is where it becomes costly. This psychological illusion, this invisible audience that does not exist, silences voices, kills ideas, and buries potential. People don't chase opportunities because they fear judgment from observers who were never actually watching. You now know that your subconscious leads before your conscious mind follows. You know your environment is quietly programming your behavior. You know the audience judging you exists mostly inside your own head. But here's where it gets more personal. Because the next 4 facts do not just describe how your mind processes the world around you. They describe how your mind protects itself from truth, from growth, and sometimes from the very life you claim you want. Pay close attention. This is where psychology stops being fascinating and starts being a mirror. Fact 4. Confirmation bias. The belief bodyguard. Your brain is not designed to find the truth. It is designed to defend what it already believes. This is called confirmation bias, and it operates like a highly paid bodyguard stationed at the door of your worldview. It lets in information that agrees with your existing beliefs. It turns away or aggressively discredits anything that challenges them. Here is what makes it insidious. It does not feel like bias. It feels like clarity. It feels like common sense. It feels like you are simply recognizing what is obviously true. A person who believes they are unlucky will notice every failure and unconsciously dismiss every opportunity. Not because the opportunities aren't there, but because the bodyguard won't let them in. The most dangerous prison is the one that feels like home. Fact 5. The Zeigarnik effect. The unfinished loop in the 1920s. Soviet psychologist Bluma Zeigarnik noticed something peculiar. Waiters could remember complex, incomplete orders with perfect accuracy. But the moment an order was fulfilled, it vanished from memory almost instantly. The brain, she discovered, assigns heightened mental energy to unfinished tasks. It keeps them open, running, unresolved. This is the Zeigarnik effect. And in the modern world, it is being weaponized against you at industrial scale. Every cliffhanger, every notification, every series that ends on unresolved tension. Every series that ends on unresolved tension. Every unanswered message sitting in your inbox. These are not accidents of design. They are deliberate psychological hooks engineered to occupy your mental bandwidth. Your attention is not being stolen. It is being purchased, one unfinished loop at a time. Reclaiming your focus begins with recognizing which loops are yours and which ones were planted. Fact 6. Emotional contagion. The invisible transmission. You have never had a conversation that left you completely unchanged. Neuroscience has confirmed what humans have felt intuitively for centuries. Emotions are neurologically contagious. Through a system of mirror neurons, your brain automatically mimics and internalizes the emotional states of people around you. Sit beside someone anxious long enough, your cortisol rises. Spend consistent time with someone energized and purposeful. Your baseline shifts upward. This is not metaphor. This is measurable biology. The people you surround yourself with are not just company. They are inputs. They are quietly editing your emotional operating system every single day, without a single word being spoken about it. You do not only become what you repeatedly think. You become, in part, what you repeatedly feel in the presence of others. Choose your emotional environment with the same seriousness you would choose a surgeon. Fact 7. Neuroplasticity. The redemption fact. Everything presented in this script could feel like a verdict, like evidence that you are controlled, manipulated, and hardwired beyond repair. It is not, because the most extraordinary discovery in modern neuroscience is this: your brain is not fixed. It is not finished. It is not permanent. Neuroplasticity is the brain's proven ability to physically restructure itself based on repeated thought patterns, behaviors, and experiences. Every time you consciously choose a different response, a different interpretation, a different habit, you are not just thinking differently. You are literally building new neural pathways. The identity you carry today was constructed by repetition, which means a new identity can be constructed the same way, through new repetition, chosen deliberately, sustained consistently. Awareness is not just insight. In neuroscience, awareness is the beginning of structural change. You are not your patterns. You are the one who can observe them, and that distinction is everything. 7 facts, 1 conclusion. The mind that runs quietly in the background, shaping your choices, filtering your reality, absorbing emotions, defending old beliefs. That mind is not your enemy. It is a system. And systems, once understood, can be worked with instead of against. You now see the architecture. You now know the mechanisms. The subconscious bias, the planted loops, the invisible emotional signals, the neurons that rewire with every deliberate choice. The question was never whether these forces exist. The question is, now that you see them, what will you do differently? Of these 7 psychological facts, which one hit closest to home? Was it the confirmation bias protecting a belief you know is holding you back? The emotional contagion quietly draining your energy? Or the neuroplasticity fact that reminded you change is still possible? Drop it in the comments. Be honest. That honesty, right there, is already the first step.